want to put my phone number?
What's the name of that tackle company?
You have 3 minutes to talk, okay?
She said if they set up an account, they have to do 2 accounts, one for tackle.
Huh.
He's selling the black eye.
Tom, it was attempted.
That's what we was when I wasn't guilty for a while. When they were on, we made more money on the supplies and gas and all that.
Come, I'm gonna turn, you can come down here, there's an office upstairs. Oh, imagine. Okay, good. Hey, Brian. Brian, do you feel like giving an invocation? Okay. Good morning. And welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court. It's now 9:30, August the 6th of 2024. And at this time, Magistrate Blemo, if you'd lead us in invocation and the pledge, please.
All right. Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning just thanking you and praising you for your many blessings, Lord. We pray that you would just continue to watch over us and guide us, be with this nation, be with the state, the county, be with all the people that are here today. We just pray your blessings on all of us. We just pray that you would help us make good decisions for all the people that are involved, and that just continue forward with everything that's going on. We pray all this in Jesus' holy name.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Brian. At this time, Sam, if you would call the roll to bring the court to order, please.
Yes, sir. Vera Sanders.
Present.
Sean Logston.
Yes.
Karen Johnson.
Here.
Brian Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Treasurer's transfer report, Canan.
Yes, Judge, and that would be for July the 31st and also for today, August the 6th, for your approval.
I make a motion that we accept the treasurer's transfer report as presented.
A second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Sanders to approve the Treasurer's transfer report as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamle?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentation and approval of all bills.
I make a motion that we approve all bills as presented.
Second.
I got a motion by Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Blamel to approve the bills as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Leamle?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes for the July 16, 2024 Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the July 16, 2024 meeting.
I'll second.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Sanders, a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson to approve the minutes of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court for July the 16th, 2024. Sam, call the roll, please.
Leamle?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The Treasurer's Report, Canan?
Oh, that's the next meeting, Judge, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Do we have a sign-in sheet?
Yes, Judge Summers.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. Bruce Thompson. Want to talk about the fairgrounds?
Yes, I'm gonna talk about the fairgrounds. I'm not an official fair board member no more, but, I was on it from the beginning, and I know that, we have a new court, and, not new to when we had the fairgrounds started.
Right.
Because some of you may not know how we got there, where we're at, and, on the fair board, they're all new members. So I just prepared. Would you take one, pass it down? I can't work too good with my hands anymore. Seems like the last few times, Mr. Crippi's been talking
Thank
about
you, Ken.
maybe we can get the money to help the fairground and kind of thing. I just want you all to know, you're gonna have to put that in the paper, Mr. Barr. But this, did you have enough for everybody?
No, we need one more, or two more.
I can't hardly walk. I was
Well, I
supposed to
can-
be at a pain clinic in Bardstown today, but after I saw the dope they wanted to give me, I didn't want any of it.
There you go. So,
Who did I miss?
You got
But
one
no,
for yourself?
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Did you get
here.
one?
One more.
Yeah, I'll take one.
They're $5.
All right.
So,
Now,
Thank
you
you,
look on the
Bruce.
back side, I've always wanted to get a little publicity. You see that? Did you get one? Okay. So that kind of explains how we started, how we ended up at the county fairgrounds. And you can read over, we had it at Roby for the first 2 years, and then we had a storm, and the superintendent school had a little fit. So Russo and I got with Judge Moore, and we wanted 99-year lease, but they'd only give us 25. But no money from the county.
Right.
All the fair board members are volunteers. Nobody is paid. There's no money. And never has been. And we didn't have the Hillview City Fair at that time, and we didn't have the Shepherdsville. We didn't have, but now, things are getting different. We got a grant from Julian Carroll. This is a picture of myself, Dennis Tate, Julian Carroll, and Frank Smith, who was represented at that time. Right. So we got a grant, and that's how we built a big building, and then later we got the Houchins building. So that's all on your thing there, so go over it. If you want to call me, my phone number is there, but I'm no longer a fair board member, hadn't been for years. Okay. But I'm still helping them, and if you get some money and the thing that you want to do out there, you need to figure your scheme that you want done. You got the big resort, which the current fair board president thought the county was going to take the fairgrounds. And he called me up and he said, you go to those meetings and you didn't tell me they're going to take the fairgrounds. I said, other corner, other corner, other corner. So he said, what am I going to do? And I said, I guess you're going to move. It's that simple. But the county's not taking it. And Becky Noel is a groundskeeper. She don't get paid either, but she gets free rent, free electric, and free water.
Right.
So go over that. Call me about midnight. I'll be up.
We'll do it.
I'm up. So, I mean, I think I've got it. You can figure out what I've got there.
Okay.
Vera, any questions?
Yes, Bruce.
Yes.
Which number can we reach you at?
Any number you want to.
I see two numbers.
No, the 543 number's bad. Down at the bottom there.
Oh, okay.
This is old stationary. I don't believe in cutting down another tree just for this. You see what I'm saying?
I understand.
Okay. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks,
sharing.
Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. Robert and Guilford?
Always have questions, I guess.
My name is Robin Gilback, and I live in Bullitt County.
I cannot
Yeah,
hear
I'm
you.
gonna speak up.
My name is Robin Gilback, and I live in Bullitt County. I noticed that you have on number 6 about medical cannabis. Well, I would like to present my story about it and what I think about it. What are the regulations for this D-Delta 9, number 1? And what is Bullitt County going to do to protect our community? I'm an advocate for the regulated dispensaries of the medicinal purpose. I have Lyme disease and I have multi-issues. But this unregulated madness is over the top. I would like to relay this. My son overdosed on this product that is dispensed in our local communities per the Delta 9 loophole. He was incapacitated for 3 days. And I'm going to start all over. My son overdosed Saturday night on a legal product he bought at a local store. It's stupid, I know, but this is accessible to our community. ER is having overdoses often, and it's hitting our community full force. And again, it is allowed because there's a loophole, just like the truckers. Loopholes, the signs missing from our ramps, new gas station owners, truckers, and easy delivery for this technically legal drug. We cater to the ones whom are bringing it in like they are untouchables. Kudos to our emergency, our EMT, our police, our EMS, our fire department that all showed up at my home to help my son. I'm a mad mother. I'm mad at them for selling this to my son. This deliverance of legal drugs and the truckers are good examples of the transition to the loopholes that we face. I feel there's no shame in making a mistake like my son did. And I thank God for his presence in the 3-day resurrection of my baby Jesus. He's always been. And only a few would understand, but God was good to us for bringing him back to us. Throughout this experience, it has taught me many things. The police are trying, but their hands are tied. The EMS and EMT are dealing with common occurrences. Nurses are overwhelmed with families impacted, and doctors are distressed with the uninformed public. I'm angry with the whole gamut. I implore you to take action for our community and set regulations to stop this loophole hurting our community. The people selling these loophole drugs, they don't live here. They know where to buy their locations and easy to get it on the road and go. How can their stuff be legal? What if my son didn't go home and try it? What if he were driving after taking it? This is what any unknown person would do. It's sold in our local stores. How can you sell such a lethal drug at a gas station like candy on the counter? How many accidents occur each day due to this over-the-counter drug? This is the example. He bought 4 of these. He only took one for $20. My only saying is you don't know what you don't know. And now you know. If you're ignorant you're ignorant for the first mistake you make. But if you're lucky enough to survive, you're stupid if you do it again. And I implore you to regulate this stuff.
Okay. Robin, thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah. Prayers for your son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lindsay Hammond's Brooks Hill Schoolhouse dump trucks.
Hello, I am Lindsay Hammonds. I'm from Brooks, Kentucky. Last time I was here, it's been a little while. We had stopped. Do you need me to talk louder?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We had talked about the dump truck issue on Brooks Hill. As you guys are familiar with, that has been a huge issue in the last several years with Brooks. We were able to work together as a team and kind of bring a stop with the Belcher dumping situation. However, he did sell his property to Goller Trucking on the end. And so as soon as they ended, Goller Trucking then picked up and continued to dump. So we're still dealing with the same situation. Last time we spoke, there was a question about zoning. Have you guys looked into that at all?
Yes. Charlie or Tammy, either one?
I'm not sure about the question about the zoning.
Yes.
But I know Charlie Spalding has been out and investigated, and as of now, my understanding is that the Dollars have a permit to dump, and they're operating within their permit.
Okay,
And
so,
that's, I believe, Mr. Spalding's understanding as well.
okay. So is the permit issued for residential, like for a resident, or is it issued for a commercial business?
It is for the dumping. And
Correct.
Charlie could probably explain it better
Yeah.
than I could, but it's to fill the land there, you've got the permit. I don't know if it makes a distinction between residential and commercial, I don't think it does.
No.
Okay, so it's a residential area.
Anybody can fill there though, like you
Sure,
can fill your property
absolutely.
with the permit.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And I'm pro filling because I feel like people buy property and it's always nice to be able to fill that in. But when it becomes a commercial business, that is the issue because we have a large commercial business up on the hill. We're not talking about the small man. We're not talking about somebody that is just trying to make a dime and running a small business out of his home. We're talking about the big guy. Goller is a huge company. I feel like that they probably have the assets and the ability to be able to get a normal dumping site where it's not putting the safety and risk of our community in danger. So my question is, how are they allowed, or you guys may not know this, but how are they allowed to operate a commercial business in a residential area?
They're allowed to dump, and so that's
Okay.
what she's doing. So I guess whether they're getting
They're
paid
getting
to
paid.
take
Yes.
the loads or not
Yes,
is kind of
so-
secondary to the fact that she
sure.
has the permit and she's
Sure.
allowed to fill.
Sure. So yes, so as I have been made aware of, they are getting paid to dump and to bring back and forth. I mean, it's a huge, they've got like a trailer there. They have like an area where they have a tank for the gas for them to refuel. It is a full-fledged operation. So my question is, how do we proceed forward in order to maybe put a stop to this? Recently on last Tuesday, there were 2 incidents in one day. There was a wreck in the curb up in Brooks Hill, and there was another wreck up on Wilderness. I'm not sure if he came in contact with another vehicle, if something happened, but I do know he was stalled on the hill. You know, that's an embankment for several hours. So did you have anything to add while I know Vera obviously is our magistrate, and she
Yes, I will add. First of all, I did talk to the Sheriff's Department about getting extra patrolling up there, and I'm not sure how that's went. Colonel Payne, would you know how the patrolling has went on Brooks Hill?
We have, and from what I recall, about the stuff that when we have stopped the trucks or worked accidents up there, the trucks have been operational per KRS. There have
Right,
it's
sure.
not any faults,
Right,
with
right.
that. But, we wrote the occasional speeding ticket. If I recall, there wasn't a ton of them, but, of course, anytime our presence is up there, everybody slows down, including trucks. And, so we try to at least, get up there, as often as we can, just to keep things slow, because that is a tight space.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And also, Lindsay, just to let you know, I did set up there one day for a few hours, and I was able to talk to two of the truck drivers, and they did advise me that they did have to pay to dump. So I feel that it is a commercial dumping area. However, I don't know what the steps need to be done to have that rezoned.
Okay. So how do we proceed forward in order to bring this to a stop or slow it down?
Now, any complaints that you have, you can make that against Charlie Spalding at Planning and Zoning, and he'll go out and investigate. And as far as the complaints he's received so far, like I said, she's operating within the permit as far as what he's been able to do.
Right, but she's also running a commercial business. And
That's
so
secondary
that's,
to the fact that she's allowed to do that dumping there. So whether she's
right,
paid
but if
to
she's
the
getting
lower
paid,
pot,
right, and she
she's
just
allowed
said,
to fill it.
yeah, but she just said that someone has, she went there and spoke
Those
to
two
someone and
had
there's.
told me how much it
right,
costs
and
to
they
dump.
probably have no reason to lie. What type of evidence do we need as a community to substantiate that there is a commercial dumping business there?
Can't really answer that. I mean, again, whatever complaints you have may come to Mr. Spalding.
Right.
But again, if she's getting paid, that's secondary to the fact that she has a permit and she's allowed to dump there.
Sure.
And she's operating within that
Sure.
permit.
Yeah. So how do we proceed forward? Just talk to Mr. Spalding? Or, because last time I'll tell you that how the chain of events worked was it was completely different. Felicia Harper was here, we spoke with her, she came right in, we came here, and then the ball just started rolling from there. It was very difficult. A lot of us, we did waste I won't say it's a waste, because 100% it was not a waste, because now our community is a little bit safer because of it. But we spent a lot of time and devoted a lot of our energy and time. We are all working parents and moms and dads and have a lot of other things that we could have done with our time, but this is so important to us as a community that we came forward and we were willing to put in the footwork, and we did, and we worked really hard, and it's just it's so sad to me that, and I know 100% I believe in the Lord, and I know that there's always an answer in the end, and He's got it. But it's just so sad to me that we did all that work, and then Goller comes in and buys it from Belcher. And it's kind of like, by that time, to be honest, I was just exhausted. I mean, just from the constant fiscal meetings and zoning meetings, and it was just a lot. So I don't understand, well, how does this differ from the last time whenever we came in?
I don't think I can answer that.
Yeah, because you weren't here. Yeah, I don't believe that you were here anyway, so.
How
I think it
is
was
the
a little
property
strange.
zoned
It's zoned
currently?
agricultural. I did look that up.
It's zoned agriculture.
Yes, ma'am.
It's an annual permit, right? She has to renew it. It goes to her.
Per acre.
Oh, okay, so it's for an acre. So she can dump until it's filled.
I don't recall the acreage that this was approved for, but it's charged per acre.
Yeah, and it keeps getting approved and keeps getting approved. And you guys are welcome to add yourself to the Brooks neighborhood page.
So,
It's very
Yeah, I have a
insightful.
question. So I've heard the truckers say that they pay $40 a load to dump it there. How does that not make it commercial?
She has a permit that allows her to
Right.
fill there. So again, it's if she's getting paid or not getting paid, that's kind of secondary to the fact that she's dumping there per the permit and she's allowed to do that.
Is she
But
allowed to
that
run a
should be-
business out of there?
Yeah, that should be irrelevant.
That
Yeah.
she's operating within the permit because, again, if she's getting paid, not getting paid, doesn't matter. She can dump there. She's allowed under the permit to dump.
So let's say it wasn't for dirt, okay? Because to me, there's an irrelevancy there, because it's not irrelevant to me. It's not relevant to me that she has a permit. A little bit it is, but mostly it's about the commercial issue, operating in a residential area. So say she wasn't selling dirt. Say that she was selling something else that she didn't need a permit for. So let's remove the permit part. Still, like she said, it's a commercial business.
But again, she has the permit. You can't remove the permit part. That's what it allows her to do
Well,
what she's doing.
Right.
Right, but we'll just agree to disagree on that, because at the end of the day, it is a commercial business operating.
But doesn't agricultural still allow commercial activity under those certain guidelines of farming and dump?
I think if it's grown on the land, so if it's like a product that's grown on the land, like corn or something like that, I think, yeah, so.
And one thing, Lindsay, I think I explained to you and a few others here in the courtroom, there's no way of us ever being able to control the dumping,
Right.
sorry, the dump trucks, because
State highway.
it's a state
Sure,
highway.
right.
So there's no way, but I do understand what you're saying. If you can get one thing stopped, maybe that would stop.
Why would she?
Kind of at least slow it to just protect people, because it is crazy. And when you're driving down the road and you're 100 feet up in the air, 200 or 300 feet up in the air on a hill, and you see this massive dump truck coming towards you, and it can't control its load, that's terrifying. And I had my whole notebook. I was so prepared for you guys today, and then I laid it on my island, and that's where it stayed. So I had the incidents of everything that's happened, of what we have recorded, and there were at least 15 or 16 in the last 2 or 3 years. It's been a lot. There was a guy that was he was mowing his grass, and a dump truck came flying through there, and it started to barrel over because it had started to lose control because of its heavy load. So it almost hit him. It went around him, and it landed sideways. It lost its load right in front of him. He is no longer with us, unfortunately, because I would have asked him to step forward and speak. But, but.
And throwing this out here, I'm happy to sit down too. You don't have your number. I don't have my planning and zoning book, and I don't have a permit in front of me to
Okay,
look
sure.
over the ordinance.
Understand.
I'm happy to set a meeting, me, you, Charlie, Vera.
That would be wonderful, yes. That would be wonderful.
It's hard to do it without the permit right in front of me.
I understand. So, but I appreciate your all's time. I'm going to respect the time
Okay.
and move on. So,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. Tammy Becker.
Tammy Baker.
Becker, B-E-C-K-E-R.
Becker.
What do you gotta say?
I don't know why I said Baker.
Yeah.
With the dump trucks.
Hi, I'm Tammy Becker, not Baker. I get called that all the time, by the way.
I'm sorry, Tammy.
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet as much as I can, but you all, and especially you, Judge Summers, I voted for you. And I've voted for Vera. But this stuff that's been going on up at this hill for 8 years now, it started with John Belcher, and now, I mean, it wasn't even went from him to them. They was doing it together there for a while, so we had probably 100 dump trucks a day we had to deal with on that road. Now, when I drive down that road right now, anytime you want to go up there, you can go look for yourself. There's sides of the roads that's breaking away. Somebody's going to get over too far and roll over that hill. And I pray to God that that doesn't happen. But we have come to you guys, I don't know how many times, when Dennis Mitchell was up here, I don't even remember, I wish to God I could find this, but for some reason, conveniently, a whole lot of the stuff was lost after Felicia left. But we fought to get an ordinance put into place, and there was an ordinance put into place to only fill 1 acre. And for some reason, that's just been swept under the rug, and it's like, all of us taxpayers up here don't matter. I am sick and tired of when I get on the road, those things being across the line, and I just happen to live on Wicker Lane, which is just past Orchard Brook, where you go into that curve. Well, when I come this way, well, it doesn't matter which way. They want to ride over the center line like they're afraid they're going to hit the guardrail. Well, I don't want to get put in the guardrail either, and I don't want to get hit by a truck head on either. My husband and I have pulled our camper out on that road and about got wiped out a couple of times. I mean, this is why we're so aggravated about it. It's nonstop every single day, and they're running a business, and we don't understand why. I'm just going to say this. The last line of the Pledge of Allegiance says, liberty and justice for all. Where's our justice? I mean, what is it going to take? Somebody getting splattered all over the road before somebody finally does something? I don't want to see that happen to any of my neighbors. A school bus, the kids, somebody's animals. I mean, where do we fit into this? Do we not matter, or are we just one big zero to everybody? We vote you people in and we get the middle finger, basically. So, that being said, I'm gonna move to my next thing. This is what I actually wanted to do. I'm gonna read a Bible verse to all of you, and I want you to stew on this. Luke chapter 12, verse 2 and 3. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What you have said in the dark will be made heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs. So, if there's something shady going on, God sees every bit of it. And that's my seed I want to plant to each and every one of you. You all think that you're not serving us. Somebody's self-serving themselves by letting this stuff go on. So this is the year that God has said several times through several different people, this is the year he's going to expose everything. So if you're all doing anything you shouldn't be doing, I'd be repenting real quick. And you can give me that look all you want. I happen to believe that. You can believe what you want to believe. You obviously think it's okay to let somebody run a commercial business and try to kill people on the road every day. You don't care. You don't even care. So I hope you don't get voted back in. That's all I got to say.
Tammy, I like to say, I appreciate your vote, and I have worked hard on this.
Well, I know you have, but you've been fought tooth and nail too. I understand that. I mean, it's pretty sad when you can't even sit on meetings that concern all this stuff. You're our magistrate, and you should be a part of that.
I agree.
Chris Cody.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Chris Choate. I live on Brooks Hill, and I have the distinct honor, I guess you could say, of living directly across the street from the dump site. We built that home 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, and a few months after we built that house, it was beautiful. I mean, as we built the house, it was beautiful across the street. There was a little cabin there. Good people live over there. Beautiful field. So anyway, we decided to make that purchase. And I understand things change, and they always will, and as progress comes, we'll see that. But just a few months later, in September of 2020 is when this started directly across the street. So we're looking at 4 years now, documented. I have camera systems that monitor every truck that goes up there. And on the busy days, it's over 85 trucks a day. And those 85 trucks seem to be that can't control very well on that narrow road. And I understand that they have a permit. And Jerry, I met with you and Mr. Spalding last year, and we discussed this, and it seems like we're handcuffed on being able to do anything about it. I'm not sure exactly why, because I do believe, as has been said here today, it is a commercial operation. And I understand the permit, but I think one thing we need to look at how we issue those permits. Because I understood it being an acre at the beginning, and then they got approved and getting approved. And I'm not sure what the process for those permits being approved are. But obviously there's something going on if it's been over 4 years. I have concerns of health concerns. If I was going to open a business today and it was a dumping site, a commercial dumping operation, I would have EPA that would want to check out what I'm doing. I would have OSHA, because I can show you and look over there. There's a 14-year-old kid at the time that operates that equipment all day by himself. His mom and dad drops him off across the street, and he's on there. He actually flipped it one time down at the bottom of the hill. And when you go by, they try to add culverts at the bottom of the hill, but if you look at it from the Mount Elmira side, they're making some progress, but the rain comes like it does, and it erodes it all away, and they keep dumping. So they're making tons of money, and, when you look at, that amount of trucks, if I was going to open that business, because I've opened quite a few coming from the retail industry, when we would open a new facility, there would be certain guidelines. When we opened the Lowe's store right here in Shepherdsville, there were concerns over decibel levels. In some of our stores that we built, we had to add sound barriers. When you take a sound meter and you just measure when that dump truck, when that gate lift slams, it's over 100 decibels. Now we're getting into airport type sound. Airports, commercial businesses have to do things, right? They have to do things to keep that sound to a minimum. In the different businesses I was involved in, there were certain hours of operation that we could run forklifts and things like that in an outside area. So when you look at that, I would suggest, or what kind of EPA oversight is being looked at? Because I'm not sure what they're dumping at night. When they're dumping at night, who's looking at that? We could have another super fund right here in Bullitt County. And who would know about it? And we would say, well, they had a permit. It seems like we'd have learned our lesson and stopped being Louisville's dumping grounds, because that's what we're being. And when you look at, from air and dust and from dirt on the road, when they leave each day, those 85 trucks, there's mud all over the road. Now, when Mr. Goller was alive, I met with him a couple times. And, I met him the first day. I'm like, hey, what's going on across the street, Oh, my nephew's going to build him a house. Okay. And, at the bottom of my property, there's a big hill also. So I can respect someone's freedom to be able to fill in land. And I think anybody would. But when you start talking about reasonable, this is not reasonable. It's not. And I'm not sure what is keeping the local government handcuffed like it is. But something is. And something's going on. And somebody needs to look into it a little more. Because obviously, our judge executive, our zoning seems to be handcuffed and can't do anything about it. And I would just ask you, when we look at the different businesses, when I look at the potential restaurants we could have gotten in Bullitt County, but it was turned down because of different things and parking and entrance by the school board. There were some considerations. And this is just going by the wayside without anyone taking any type of oversight. So I'm concerned from health reasons. I'm concerned from just a noise level. Because if it was a commercial operation, I would have to do something about it. And I just ask that we look at that the permit processing. And if it was an acre, or if it was whatever, that's reasonable. But for 4 straight years, and many of 85 plus trucks a day, it's been talked about the damage to the road. I understand it's a state road. Them not able even to keep up with the speed limit. Not that I'd probably want them to go the speed limit. The way they drive, it just seems like those dump trucks can't stay in their lane either because of the load or the way they're designed. I'm not sure what it is. But anytime you go up there, I invite you to. I know when Marcus Latham was here, a friend of mine, he had parked Bullitt County
up there,
patrol car up in my driveway. I told him he could. Everybody in the neighborhood, that was shortly after I moved there, so everybody thinks I'm a policeman up there now. And because it stayed there for 4 months,
right.
And it was to curtail some of that, just to keep them on their toes, I guess. But nothing has seemed to work, and we're at our wits' end, as you can see here today and here. And I just respectfully ask that we relook at it and prayerfully consider doing something about it for the Brooks community, because we are suffering because of it. Thank you all.
Chris.
I'll just say, I'm happy to have a meeting with any folks you all want to bring. We can look at the ordinance, look at the permit. Be happy to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Chris, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey, I do have one question, and I guess maybe for Colonel Payne. But since that's a state road and, they have to follow DOT regulations and stuff, do they have kind of like those scales? If a lot of these trucks are kind of swerving and not being able to stay, maybe they're overweight or something, maybe like DOT could check that, or
They could.
would we just bring that up? Or?
From my knowledge, of course, I retired, from the state police when we had where you could go through that process with them. And maybe there's one nearby, but I'll
Maybe at
look
the bottom of
into
the
that
hill or
deal.
something.
You're welcome to use the Brooks Ballpark on that property, and you're welcome to use that if you need to sit there and kind of sit back at a location that's safe and off the road.
You said Brooks Ballpark?
The Brooks Ballpark, yeah, it's on Brooksville Road, it's really small, people can use it, so that you are welcome to, sit there anytime you guys would like.
I'm for you to watch the road right there because it has been sagged because the weight of the hills. Every time they come down, they hit that and there's no size.
We don't weigh trucks, you know, that'd be a thing, you know, no sheriff's office does, you know, we don't do it. Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, I have no idea, we don't weigh trucks, and that's solely the purview of KDE. And, you know, they're the ones that weigh on the interstates, these back roads and everything else. So that would be, they would need some place where we can get a truck off the side of the road safely, to weigh it and then do whatever they need to do. If it's overweight, then cite them, cite the owner, cite the drivers, the whole 9 yards. But that's something that the motor vehicle section of the state police now does, and that's their sole purview. No other law enforcement entity has that type of equipment, or the training to weigh commercial vehicles.
Okay. Thank you, Colonel. Yeah.
Encompass that and advocate for our community.
There you go.
I can't.
Okay. Adam, BARTLEWSIA? Okay.
Hold on.
Hey, don't you supposed to be in school?
Hi, my name's Adam Bartluski. I'm 12 years old, and I'm scared about the dump trucks because they poison water. Like my mom said that they poison the water down at like that road that's like where the old dump site was, and it disturbs someoe's water like really badly, that it's toxic and you cannot drink out of it. I'm also scared of if a deer is there and like they just dump and they don't see the deer and the deer gets crushed. And they're unsafe for school buses, and I used to ride on a school bus, so like I'm always scared if there's something like gonna, I don't know, scare us at the bus. But I really don't like how they're dumping. Yeah. The end.
Adam, thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Great job.
Okay. All right. Presentations. Kevin Moulton, Chapter 75 of the tax increase proposal.
Morning, all.
Morning, Kevin. Chief,
You all
how are
should
you?
have a packet that I put up there this morning for you all, the slideshow that we'll be going through also, to keep a little closer eye on too. For the ones that don't know me, I'm Kevin Moulton, Fire Chief with Zonton Fire. And since November, we have a group of us with fire chiefs throughout the state, along with the Fire Chiefs Administration and the Kentucky Firefighters Association, have been working on and trying to talk with the legislators. And right now I'm here to just kind of update and ask for support and educate you all on how Chapter 75 departments get their monies. So if you go to the next slide there. One more there. So Chapter 75 was created in 1994. When that was created, it was set at 10 cents per $100 of your asset values of what your property on is valued at. And if you can imagine what, the cost and everything was in 1944 versus what it is in 2024, things have gone up So in Bullitt County, we have, right now we have 4 Chapter 75 departments and we have 2 Chapter 95 departments. The 95 departments run through the city, which is Shepherdsville and Lebanon Junction. 75 departments will be Zonton, Mount Washington, Nichols, and Southeast. They're a taxing district. So they are the ones that get this 10 cents on $100 of what your house is valued at. And again, this has been set for 80 years. So when we start getting in and we get in the monies, businesses that don't pay the taxes, such as the government buildings, the churches, the schools, the hospitals, we don't get any funding from that. We make numerous runs to all those agencies. So once we get down to it, ambulances started becoming, as you know, Mount Washington and Bullitt County has, and the Metro ambulance started coming to in 2004, which let them raise their taxes another 10 cents on the 100, giving them 20 cents. That is a way that they started bailing out and starting getting more money in the fire agencies to be able to support the fire departments. Next slide, please. The Fire Commission, they set forth a $15,000 if a volunteer department or a Chapter 75 department has 12 firefighters, a fire chief, a working apparatus, and at least 50% of their volunteer are working towards the 115 hours that they have to be a certified firefighter. So the $4,429 is for the career staff. They pay for that. The state gives us that. That's just a little extra money. And all these are funded through the firefighters program and funded insurance surcharges. There's a lot of agencies out there that are Chapter 75 now that still do car washes, chili suppers, bake-offs, just still raise money just to try to keep their firehouses and up and running and their equipment. Next slide. So, loss of income since 1994, we're going to go over a few things and of where some of the monies are going to. We're going to discuss the bourbon tax here. I'm sure all of you all are familiar with the bourbon tax. Not to mention, out of that 10 cents that we might have on 100, the sheriff's office takes 1% of all the monies that we get through the taxes for them to be able to process and do their money. So, we don't get all that money. It still gets divvied out amongst some other ones. Next slide. The bourbon barrel tax. Of course, you all are aware of it. The total net loss for these counties, and 28 counties that this is affected by, is $15 million. We have a department, the fire chief is sitting in this audience today. If that bourbon tax went into effect, he loses $465,000 out of his budget. Mm-hmm. That's hard. That's a big chunk of money. Next slide. One thing that we didn't realize when we were going through here is out in eastern Kentucky, the coal. There's 49 counties. They're not making much coal anymore. So the demands for coal is decreasing, so they're losing. The amount of coal, severance tax in Floyd County for 2019 and 20 was $875,000. There's not a lot of money out the east side of Kentucky anyways. Mm-hmm. Next one. Now, to break down, we try to use as much apples to apples as we could to go over the equipment costs. Next slide. In 1944, a fire truck that has a ladder on it, the closest that we could get that they made at that time was an 85-foot ladder, aerial truck. It cost $18,000. What kind of vehicle can you buy for $18,000 right now?
That was a lot back then.
As you can see, they couldn't even get it on the railroad. The war was going on. They had brought it in by train. It took us a long time to find those pictures. Next slide. Now today, if you were to purchase the same apparatus, the same company, and prices vary manufacturer to manufacturer. Right now, that apparatus that you're looking at is $2.2 million. That's a big jump in 80 years for apparatus. Things have been NFPA, we got to follow NFPA laws, so they put restrictions on us on things that we have to have on that apparatus. That is kind of your bare bones apparatus. In 2022, Zonton bought a ladder truck, and we paid $1.3 million for that one. If we were to buy it now, the same truck, we're looking at $2 million just in 2 years. And what we're realizing, and what we heard just the other day, is next year there's a 16 to 20% increase on fire apparatus. And we have to keep those maintained, keep good wheels on them, keep fuel in them. I mean, that's what's going through and putting the fires out. We got to make sure our firemen get there safely. Next slide. 1944, your fire truck, $5,700. That's your bare bones. That comes with no equipment. All these apparatus comes with no equipment. No fire hose, no rescue tools, no air packs, all that. That is the cost of getting those trucks. Next slide. This year, as you all probably know, that you all spend some money, but right now, if we were to buy the same truck, this Pierce Enforcer is $1 million. Big jump from 80 years ago. And again, this has no equipment on it. Bare bones, minimum fire trucks. Next slide. The cost back in 1944, excuse me, it cost roughly $50 to $70 to outfit a firefighter at that time. They wore rubber boots. They wore coats. They didn't have air packs back then. They just went in and covered their mouths and did all they could do. So this year, next slide. All these were taken from, all these next prices that we're going to get is taken from the National Volunteer Firefighter Council. So right now, approximately, it's going to cost you $4,000 to $4,500 to outfit a fireman. And that's without an air pack. That is just your bunker pants, your coat, your helmet, your Nomex hood, your boots, that's all. Next slide. Here's a total breakdown of it. Your helmet today is $350. Your coat, $2,000. Your pants, $1,600. Boots, $476. Your hood, which is a cancer, that's the price of a cancer hood that helps us protect and keep the cancers off of us, $100. Gloves, $123. SCBA, $6,000. There's a typo. A radio that we try to give every firefighter a radio that is in the seat, because if they go in the fire, get lost, we still got to have communications with them. $4,000. Thermal imaging camera, $4,300. And then training overall to try to get the firefighter up to their 115-hour certifications, you're looking at about roughly $7,800 a person. That's a lot of money. Next slide. Now, some of the things that we have to use our monies for as we get in our budget: insurance costs for apparatuses and buildings and employees, fuels for the diesel and gas, natural gas and propane just to keep the fire station heated, cooking if we got people there all the time, water bills, electric bills, maintenance upgrades, internet and computer systems. They've put things on these fire trucks and our SCBAs that NFPA makes us have that we have to pay subscription dues for. Self-contained, our SCBAs. Fit for duties and annual physicals for all the members. OSHA and NFPA are in the works now to changing their standard. which is gonna make everybody, not every fire department does full physicals. Our physicals cost us roughly $400 for a member, that we do, but they're gonna start making, all agencies, all firefighters do those. That's gonna break some people. Radios and pagers for everybody. And then now we just gotta look at all the equipment costs. You know, you have a fire hose that gets busted, we have to replace that. You know, that's a couple $100. Insurance, roughly insurance annually for a medium-sized department right now is $50,000. Next slide. And we're not just firemen, we just don't go out and get cats out of trees. We do, but we don't go out and just fight fires. Incident management, we work all the time with EMA office. And we do, I promise you, we do a whole lot of backing up for Bullitt County EMS with trainings with them. We do hazardous material runs, trench rescues, confined space, high angle, rope rescues, search and rescues. Chief Butler, their departments in Birmingham all the time. Swift water rescues. There's nobody in our county that are dive teams and training certified, but this is going across statewide for this PowerPoint. Heavy equipment rescues, vehicle rescues, large animals, and then drone operations. So we just don't go fight fires. We do a lot of things. The other day we had an elderly lady call us, said her hot water heater broke. We went and shut her water off. You know, it's all about community service. So we're going to do what the community needs us to help them with. Next one. So current statistics here for the volunteer fire service, you'll see, if you can go to the next slide. In 1984, the number of volunteer firefighters was 897,750. And if you look down at 2020, there's 676,000. So that's a big drop. We're losing volunteers. And if you look at the next column over by run volumes, our run volumes are increasing. There's more demand for us. There's more things that we get put on us that we have to do. Next slide. Some of the time demands, this is, you know, the economy and everything. People have to work 3 or 4 jobs. They don't have time to be volunteers anymore. So what happens to those departments that don't have anybody to come make those runs? They're not getting fire trucks out. You know, that's a big safety issue. You know, training requirements, they put all the training requirements on us that we have to maintain a certain amount of trainings per year. So you're taking more time away from your families. Increased call volumes, you know, we need the people there, so we put, you know, you gotta make X amount of runs a month. We need to make sure we're getting the fire trucks out. And it's the nature of the beast. I'm not gonna read through all these, but you can just go through and read some of these of why and what's going on with volunteers. They have to work. They have to maintain that income for their families. They don't have the time for being volunteers anymore. And what that makes us do is have to figure out how are we going to get these fire trucks out. And we have to start looking at paying people. Next slide, please. And then the ones that volunteer, yeah, we have to give them a nominal fee. We give them X amount of money to make the run. You know, let's give them a little bit of something saying thank you for your fuel and taking away from your family. Then we tax them. You know, that's not fair. So then we're taking money back out of their pocket for trying to do something for free for the community. Next slide. And then they're aging out. I've been doing this for 30 years. Chief Butler, I couldn't tell you, he's been in there close to me or a little bit more. We're the old timers. We're aging out. And this one, if you take the communities and you take the size of communities, and you can see it under 30 ages, we'll use 5,000 to 10,000 community size. You know, it's 35% of under 30 That was in '87, and if you look at that now, it's 30. So you're starting to see the decline. You're losing the old timers. And the new ones these days, I'm sorry, a lot of them don't want to work. They want the reward, but they don't want, have to put the sweat out. Next one. Total of 29,450 departments in this country. 8,873 are all volunteers. 5,335 are mostly volunteers. 2,459 are mostly career, and 2,785 are all career. So we, as volunteers, actually save money. We're saving people money, but we're not getting them anymore. It costs an estimate of $46 billion per year. That's all I have. I just want to kind of educate you in a little quick thing. We are asking for the fire chiefs. We've called all Chapter 75 departments in the 39 counties that we have, and we're all trying to get support. We're getting with our magistrates, trying to educate them just a little bit. I know I went through quick, and if you want to sit down with me, my doors are always open at the firehouse. You all come on in. We can show you the equipment. We can show you other things. I'll be glad to bring a fire truck to you or come in and sit down and talk with you, okay? But we're asking for support. What we are trying to do now is raise that 10 cents. We are trying to take that 10 cents and we want to add it to another 10 cents, but we don't want to go straight at that 10 cents. What our goal is to take and be able to raise it 2 cents per year for 5 years. So you cap out at 10 cents. Not an automatic straight 10 cents, just an additional 2 cents per year for 5 years. And we know, reason we don't want to go and give them the shoot and say, here, just take the whole 10 cents is I know that there are departments and there's people out there that aren't truly fiscal responsible. And we're afraid that if we shoot for the big number, they're just going to gobble it up and go right to that number and not look at exactly how much they need to increase just to stay alive. So that's what we're proposing. Our next step is it's getting presented now in a conference in Owensboro as we speak. Our next step is I'm going to reach out to our legislators and I'm going to try to pull them in. We want to have this on the table and LRCs and by the next session, and hopefully we're going to try to get this passed before the next fiscal year for us in July. So does anybody have any questions? I know I went over it real quick.
I've got a question.
Absolutely.
The fire department, they're on 44 Nichols. How will that help them as far as getting full-time employees? Will this percent help?
They might not be able to get full-time with that percent, but what it'll help them to do is they do a rapid response program. So what that is they kind of have volunteers and part-time people come in. I think Chief Bullitt does the same thing.
I do the same thing. I pay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I pay people X amount of dollars to stay the night. Like an 8-hour shift, you get so much money. You can sleep, but if there's a run, you gotta get up and go.
But they're not full-time employees.
Right. They're more like a private contractor.
Right. So they just pay them to come in, once you start making them full-time employees, you gotta pay benefits, and you gotta pay in the retirement, and you gotta pay, just a whole lot more. Trust me, my personnel in our department, 76% of our budget is just our personnel.
So raising this tax will only help stations like Dalton, Shepherdsville, Mount Washington?
Won't help Shepherdsville. Shepherdsville's a city, okay, so Shepherdsville and Lebanon Junction, they're a Chapter 95, and they are sanctioned through the cities. They get all their monies through the cities. We are a tax base. The Zontons, the Nichols, the Mount Washingtons, the Southeast Bullitt, we're tax base. That's how we get their money.
Dalton, Nichols,
Mount Washington,
Mount Washington.
Southeast.
Southeast.
But that just helps, they're, like I said, Chief Butler's, if this went into effect, the burden barrel, that's $465,000 right out of his budget.
Mhm.
I mean,
And if that happened, you would see green and gray fire trucks down there.
they'll, and if OSHA and then PA pushes these more stringent standards on us, you know, there's small departments that, and I'll use Nichols, they could shut them down.
Mhm.
Okay? I'm not sure exactly what Nichols' budget is right now, but I know that, you know, they don't have the residents and the businesses that support them up there, so, you know,
All right.
I could see them hurting.
Mhm.
But this gives us money to keep the doors open, to get the fire trucks out, to, you know, keep up with the equipment. Fire gear, we have to change out our standard. Fire gear has to be changed out every 10 years. So every 10 years, we have to buy new fire gear for everybody. 15 years for new SCBA models.
Mhm.
You know, it's just, we're just trying to get that little bit of money to help us, other agencies just keep. Absolutely.
This would help all the 75 fire departments, and the reason why is we had a house fire Saturday night, and we had to have every fire department in Bullitt County there. So if I didn't have one of the fire, one of the fire departments that would have to shut their doors because of money, then that's a domino effect. It's gonna hurt every fire department.
We call in overtime to help staff the fire truck.
Mhm.
Just so we can
But
make
it was
sure
so
the
hot Saturday night that, you know, with the humidity, it was just wearing the guys out. So we had to call, I think, you sent, what, 2 trucks?
We had 2 trucks there, 2 trucks at Shepherdsville, so, and 1 truck at Zone.
You know, they were even out there.
Okay. Okay, Dave?
I might add something to your presentation. Last year in Frankfurt, they introduced either 3 or 5 resolutions that would do away with ways we get money. I'm over the 65 age, and it's nice that they talk about it, but we still have to have the money someplace. So if you pass the resolution that if you're over 65, you don't have to pay property tax, you know, they're talking about doubling this tax, but on the other side of the coin, Frankfurt is taking away from the avenues we have to make it. We're just like the county. There's a few ways we make money. We can't have a raffle or these other things to sidestep it. So if you increase the tax by a nickel or dime, what Frankfurt does away with, well, you don't have to pay taxes on this kind of truck. You don't have to pay taxes on a house if you're over this age. That 10 cents isn't gonna go so far. Again, these trucks are $2 million or $750,000, have a life expectancy of 20 years. After 20 years, the
You have to
$2
get
million
them out.
truck, you can sell, scrap it out for $10,000, $15,000. Because it's only good for so long. Just $7,000 to $10,000 for the turnout here, 10 years. You get a longer grease on it, you have to throw it away. Again, that's not in the yearly budget for all this. So again, we have, just like you all, there's federal people telling us you have to do A, B, C, D, and E. Oh yeah, but we're gonna take away your money. I mean, this distilled spirits stuff, that's half our budget. And they still can't tell us how much money. They say, well, we're gonna make the fire department, schools, and ambulances whole. I don't have that in writing yet. So I don't, you don't know. Again, you wanna dial 911 if you want a sheriff, you want an ambulance, you want a fire truck. But we all, it's a different opinion. Southeast, our first truck was the very first truck was a 48 Seagrace for $3,000 from Bullitt. So it's a lot of money. So
Right.
it's not a one-step thing, and I thank you for pointing out all the ways that we're losing our income.
Okay, thank you, Dave. And
Is the
Kevin, it's okay. Kevin, it was really a good presentation, and, I see your budget constraints because we've worked diligently for the last 5 to 6 years to improve emergency services in this community. And it never seems like it's enough. Our community is growing so rapidly we know by looking at our dispatch numbers, and you exclude the 1,200 commercial buildings in it, that we're way over 85,000 folks. And you all are always there for us. And for all the rescues, I mean, hell, it's Bernheim, Jefferson Forest. And we have a lot of folks get lost in this county some way or another, so, but we will see how we can do moving forward. Go ahead, Vera. I'm
I
sorry.
guess my question would be is, you're saying 2%, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is that what most of the other counties are doing, 2%, or are they doing more, or?
So,
2
it's
2
2 cents per hundred.
I'm sorry, 2 cents.
So that is what we're looking at putting in the resolution, for them to be able to take to the floor, the legislators to take to the floor. 2 cents per hundred, every year, until, for 5 years, until they get an additional 10 cents. So, which would make it 20 cents.
Mhm.
And it's statewide, not.
Statewide.
It's
All
statewide.
That's what
Chapter
I'm
75
wondering, yeah.
departments.
Yeah.
Would that still have the existing 10% opportunity for those that have an EMS service?
So, yes, but only on the fire side. They will not be able to raise it up on the EMS side.
Yeah, and to help you, they don't have to take that 2% if they don't need it either, because some of them graduated in Louisville when they brought on their ambulance services. What I'm going to say increases semi-annually.
I have all those breakdowns, if y'all ever want to
Yeah,
see it.
I was just curious, like at Mount Washington, they went from 10 to 20. With this 10%, would that allow them to take that
Oh,
10
yeah.
to 20, then plus
Only
the 10?
on the fire
Okay.
side, not on the EMS side.
Okay.
But it ended up being 30.
But the EMS side's still up to 10? Okay.
We're just talking fire side, we are not talking EMS side at all.
Okay.
But if you all ever wanted to see where all the chapter 75 in the state are with their budget, we're working on getting everybody's budget, but where they're at 10 cents versus, I know some of them are at 70 cents. St. Matthew's Fire, I think, is at 8 cents.
Yeah.
But they also run an EMS service too, so.
Right.
So like I said, all we're doing is asking for support. If you all are willing to support your 4 chapter 75 departments in here, we would greatly appreciate it.
I have a question. So this is something that the Kentucky Firefighters Association has initiated. It's not something that Zonton or
No, ma'am.
Bullitt County.
No, ma'am. It is statewide. It is. We just had Saturday, I was in Owensboro for several hours. And a
Like
couple meetings.
Zonton's not necessarily struggling. You're not over here.
We will be. I'll be honest with you, we will.
Even with the new PBA numbers and,
Some of our, I can tell you, there's some of our district that has not.
I was talking about Zonton, I guess.
Something, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I know my house has not been reassessed.
Mhm.
Hopefully by
Wanted to
next
keep that
year.
quiet.
Yeah.
Bullitt went no.
I don't think he's here today.
But, and so there's some of our district that has not been.
Mhm. And to help you, Karen, a couple of years ago, Zonton lost a lot of revenue because of the buildings became empty up at the Brooks exit. I mean, literally like 1-point-something million.
I know the real estate market's just gone crazy in Hillview.
I would like to add something. In 1944, the value of our homes were a lot less. People bought their homes for $20,000 and the tax on that was 10%. Our values have increased immensely. We've got children out there with young families, and you're wanting to increase it on them. The education department and the libraries have reached out. Why not go with them with education on your people and save money in that perspective?
Because there's times that we go in and we do trainings inside the schools.
Right?
They have to have certified firefighters, certified instructors through the state and everything else, so they can't, there's times that we've even tried to put all the counties together to try to do trainings. We have to do trainings once a week, and there's just not
Our
time.
libraries are nice and new and are willing to help the community.
Mhm.
Why would they not help
Okay. Well, Kevin, I want to thank you for your presentation, and we look forward to seeing what happens down the road.
Again, door's always open, coffee's always in the coffee pot.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Really
And when
appreciate
does
all
this
you do.
decision have to be made?
Well, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna try to get in the next legislation, so.
Which is?
We're hoping that it will take effect if it passes July 1st of 2025.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
Kevin.
thanks for the information.
Thank you.
Charlie, first reading and public hearing of zoning ordinance 24-19, Todd Gillen.
Planning docket 2024Z32, Todd Gilland, seeking to rezone from R1 to conservation, located at 777 Oakwood Drive, parcel 050-000-00-045 in the unincorporated area of the county. 20.3 acres more or less, and purpose is to fit in with surrounding properties. We'll also like to use the property for farming. Comprehensive plan calls for agricultural or rural residential. The Bullitt County Planning Commission, pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, held a public hearing on the application on July 11th, 2024. Based on the testimony, Bullitt County Planning Commission finds the request meets the comprehensive plan and there is conservation surrounding zoning around the area. Based on the testimony received, the Bullitt County Planning Commission recommends this requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Charlie. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 24-19. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from R1 residential to conservation. The property in question is 20.3 acres more or less, located at 777 Oakwood Drive, parcel number 050-000-00-045 in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission, in docket number 2024Z-32, is hereby changed from R1 residential to conservation. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 6th day of August 2024, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 20th day of August 2024.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 24-19, Todd Gillen? Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 24-19, Todd Gillen? Thank you all. Charlie, first reading public hearing of zoning ordinance 24-20, Michael and Luke Savory.
Planning docket 2024Z38, Michael and Luke Savory, seeking to rezone from R1 to conservation, located on Ridge Road, parcel 064-000-00-019D, in the unincorporated area of the county. 8.972 acres more or less. Purpose is to place a mobile home on the property. Comprehensive plan calls for agricultural or rural residential. Pursuant to provisions of KRS 100.211, the Bullitt County Planning Commission held a meeting on July 11th, 2024. Based upon the testimony of the applicants and the proponents, the Planning Commission finds the map amendment is in agreement with the community's comprehensive plan. The use will fit in with the surrounding area. Because of the testimony received, the Bullitt County Planning Commission recommends this requested zoning change be approved and sends a favorable recommendation to Bullitt County Fiscal Court.
Thank you, Charlie. Tammy?
Commonwealth of Kentucky, County of Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 24-20. An ordinance relating to the changing of zoning of certain property from R1 residential to conservation. Property in question is 8.972 acres, more or less, located at Ridge Road, parcel number 064-000-00-019D in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court, and whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in said minutes, and determines that the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in docket number 2024Z-38, is hereby changed from R1 residential to conservation. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as required by law. Section 3, should any section, provision, or part of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to the extent they are inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 6th day of August, 2024, to be given second reading at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 20th day of August, 2024.
Thank you, Tammy. Anyone here to speak for zoning ordinance 24-20? Michael and Luke Savori. Anyone here to speak against zoning ordinance 24-20? Michael and Luke Savori. Hearing none. Carol Samuels, we'll just cover both years at the same time, the bids for the bushwhacker for the road department and the bids for salt for the road department this coming year. Morning, Carol.
See. Our first bid we received for the bushwhacker was from Ag Revolutions. It was $163,318.02. And the other one's from Wright Implement. It was for $197,500.
Obviously, the price is a big difference there, but comparing the quotes, apple to apple, everything is, quoted the same.
There's just a few little bit difference in the horsepower of the engine, but everything else is basically the same.
Okay, and I think are we working with Ag Revolution? Have y'all worked with them before?
Yes, sir, we bought 2 other tractors from them.
Okay.
I assume that'd be the one you want to go with?
Yeah, that's the cheapest one.
It also helps us, I would assume, with maintenance and moving forward with that vendor.
Keith, everything's in the budget, everything's in line there. Well, then I'll make a motion that we accept the bid for the bushwhacker for the road department by Ag Revolution in the amount of $163,318.02. Check, would it need to be cut on delivery?
Yep, absolutely.
Check cut on delivery.
Yep.
It says something about 10 to 12 months. Oh, that was on the John Deere one.
Yeah.
Does this one have a EPA?
Robert talked to him on that. I'm sure it should be ready to go.
It's ready.
Is it ready?
Yeah, bushwhacker's ready from.
So it's ready to be delivered, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so y'all can start whacking some bushes.
They absolutely need it.
Well, I mean, with the buses and everything, it's an essential piece of equipment because we keep the roads cut back, keep limbs from hitting them. And then we also behind the guardrails and bridges, and we use it for, mow the banks back where the other tractors can't get to it for visibility. So it's a good piece of equipment to have.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I think that.
Brian did.
Oh,
Brian
Brian,
did
I'm sorry.
already.
I
Yeah,
didn't see that.
it's okay.
You can third it.
Yeah.
That's all right. I apologize.
That's okay. I got a motion from Second District Magistrate Logsdon to approve the purchase of the bushwhacker and check to be cut on delivery. A second by Fourth District Magistrate Blamel. A third by First District Magistrate Sanders, and a fourth by Third District Johnson. Sam
That is
call.
all in there.
There you go. Sam call roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blamel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Bids for the salt, Carol?
We have received 4 bids, and the first one was from Magic for $98.75. And the next one was from Morton for $98, and one from Compass for $98.01, and Cargal for $99.75. It's kind of odd to be talking about a 98-degree weather outside.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Talking about salt or snow.
Carol, outside of the price, as my understanding, one of them might have been a little bit more, but it was the convenience and it being more local. Which one was it that you would recommend, or you all would like to see?
to go with Magic Salt because they're located in Louisville.
Okay.
And they're open 24/7, you know, during a snowstorm event. If we need some extra salt, we can go ahead and get it pretty quick.
Okay.
Also, from my understanding with them, if we have a blade to break or anything, with them
Yeah.
being open 24/7, we can get whatever we might
We've
need.
used them in the past, and if we needed salt, they got it there pretty quick, and it hasn't been the case in the other ones, so.
I was talking to Robert, he mentioned one of the other ones or something, you could only get so much or something at a time and had to have somebody there on site.
Yeah, it took us like 9 days to get our salt filled back up, because they say they're bringing it, and they might bring 1 load a day, or they might bring 2 loads a day. So there you have an operator sitting there waiting. So that's why we'd like to go local if we could, pretty local.
Yeah, and when I was asking Robert about the price difference, he said maybe it was only around, around 1,000 ton? He said somewhere around, it
1,000 ton, it's
probably
75 cents difference.
sold $750 or
Yeah.
something, but then, yeah, that definitely having it available outweighs that. Well, I'll put it in the form of a motion that we accept the salt bid from Magic of Kentuckiana, in the amount of $98.75 a ton. Is that right?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Second District Magistrate Logsdon, a second by First District Magistrate Sanders to approve the bid from Magic Salt for $98.75 per ton. Sam call roll.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next thing we have on there, on the court agenda, thank you, Carol.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is Resolution 24-06, a resolution of Bullitt County Fiscal Court in support of Vision Zero. And Keith, if you might want to give them an overview of the resolution that we're asking for.
Yes, sir. You all have a copy of this. This is, when I did my presentation, I talked about the Safe Streets for All program that is just now starting through KIPTA. That's what this is to do with. An overview of Safe Streets, Roads for All is a project to develop a regional safety action plan that will focus on safety action plans for all 16 participating jurisdictions. That's everybody in the KIPTA region. We will be working this. We have to have a committee. It'll be a Bullitt County committee, but it'll also include Mount Washington and Shepherdsville because those are 2 voting members in KIPTA. Both mayors have agreed to just be a part of one group. This is through the U.S. Department of Transportation. It's a program that will provide grants for local communities for planning and projects to strive to prevent deaths and serious injuries on roads. This is strictly an infrastructure grant, but the first thing we have to do is pass a resolution, and then we will, with the Mayor of Shepherdsville and the Mayor of Mount Washington and the Judge Executive, will create the committee. We'll have EMS, EMA, law enforcement, That will be all part of this. This is strictly looking at where your highest incidents of serious accidents and fatal accidents are. And the U.S. Department of Transportation gives us that information. One of the good things for Bullitt County is our numbers have actually gone down in 3 years. Now, they're still very high, but they have gone down as far as fatal accidents are concerned. Most people can figure out where those areas are. It's not hard to see. But what will happen is we'll come up with a plan, and there will be federal dollars that will go toward this. That's part of the grant program. So, again, this is step one. That's the background of what we're trying to do. I'll just read the resolution for you all to vote on. Resolution number 2406, a resolution of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court in support of Vision Zero. Again, Vision Zero is the goal is to get 0 fatal accidents, 0 serious accidents. Whereas the United States Department of Transportation has developed a discretional grant program to address roadway safety through the Safe Streets and Roads for All program, in the Bullitt County, Kentucky, was awarded a Safe Streets for All grant. Again, that's what we're trying to get to. Whereas through the adoption and implementation of the Bullitt County Comprehensive Plan, the Bullitt County Fiscal Court established improving safety of its transportation system as one of the community goals. Whereas the Bullitt County Fiscal Court aspires to reduce and eventually eliminate traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries on its roadways. And whereas the Bullitt County Fiscal Court is moving toward implementation of the Safe Streets for All grant through the efforts of developing various reports from data analysis and a community engagement program to identify safety improvement projects. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Bullitt County Fiscal Court hereby establishes a goal of achieving 0 traffic fatalities and serious injuries by the year 2050. We'll need a motion, second, get this passed, and then we can go ahead and create this and start moving toward the grant program.
I'll make the motion to accept the resolution 2406, supporting Vision Zero for the SS4A grant through USDOT. Is that right?
That was it?
I'll second that.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Sanders, a second by Second District Magistrate Logsdon to approve Resolution 24-06, supporting the Vision Zero for the SS4A grant through the USDOT. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Bleemel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
And I'd like to make a little swap here on the next one, because we got a couple of folks sitting here, and number 6 could be a lengthy discussion. So at this time, I'm going to make a motion to approve Evan Wright to the Joint Planning Commission, term to expire June 30th of 2020. And Evan, if you stand up, and Evan's what I'm going to say, a great community servant, and been from Bullitt County forever, and he lives in Deer Run, and he's a pretty good attorney that can move things along, and he also served on our reapportionment for the magisterial districts. So if you have any questions for Evan, this is where he's here. He's taking time off from his regular job.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you put that in the form of motion?
Yes,
I'll second that.
I got a second by Second District Magistrate Logsdon. Sam, call the roll.
Johnson?
Yes.
Bleemel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Evan, thanks for coming in here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know the Planning Commission's eager to have you on board.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Also, I'd like to appoint Nicole Shank to the Southeast Fire Department to complete Gary Fry's term. Mr. Fry moved out of the district, and he was an elected member of the fire district. And Ms. Shank will fill out the rest of his term to expire on 6/30 of 2025. I'm going to put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
Got a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call the roll, please.
Flemmel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. There's a packet in here of different shirts. It's got people's names on them from the sheriff's department. They're wanting to surplus them. I don't know if I'd want to wear some of those shirts or not, but it's okay. Yeah, there's shirts
Oh,
in
on
here.
the backside. I was
On the
looking at
backside.
How about
It's
the vehicles?
Yeah, there's vehicles on the other side.
on the front side, yep.
Okay.
I was just focused on the shirts. I'm sorry, Vera.
I
But,
meant,
So you need a second?
yeah, I need a second to surplus those items.
I'll second.
Got a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson. Any other questions, Vera?
No.
Any of you? Okay. Well, Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers,
Yes?
Sanders,
yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemmel,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. And we don't have any new hires, but we do have a couple of, well, we have 3 promotions. And you can see by doing the math, it's the difference between like an EMT and then the EMTA to or an EMTA to a paramedic. The difference in that page is added on to their existing salary, like what y'all requested the last time. An EMTA makes $21.50 an hour, a paramedic makes $27, so that leaves a difference of $5.50 for Mr. Bass. Ms. Lutz, same thing, $19.50 to $21.50. She's currently making $20.09, so that's a $2 an hour increase. Michael Pars is a paramedic. He's going to assistant training director. His increase is $4.64 an hour because that is a salaried position based off his base pay. And I'm putting
I
that
do
in
have
form.
one question.
Sure, go ahead.
The assistant training coordinator
Yes, sir?
didn't we just appoint somebody, or did they leave, or is this just a different? Seemed like there was one that we did a couple months ago, but was that maybe not a paramedic or something?
We promoted, yep. Open.
Okay, so
The existing coordinator stepped down.
Okay.
And so then we promoted the assistant up to the trainer, and now we need to fill that other
Okay,
spot.
that's what I was thinking.
Okay? So I'm gonna put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second that.
I got a second by Second District Magistrate Logston. Sam, call the roll, please.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemmel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, and back to number 6, the discussion of medical cannabis operations for Bullitt County. I think we sent out all the packets, and to help the audience, all of us here set in a great presentation at the County Judge Executives and Magistrates Association about dispensaries and medical marijuana and how it can be used. And this community has 3 different options. We can choose not to do anything, and we're eligible for a dispensary. We can choose to put it on the ballot and let the people of Bullitt County vote for it, whether to have a dispensary or not. Or we can choose to vote on it today and not be a part of it at all. So this is the question that I have before the court. This is not an executive decision. This is a court decision about what you would want to do. It will be an additional, it is medically supervised. We asked for Keith was in the office with me when I did try to reach out to him to come here for a presentation, but we were a little bit late. But we have to have this done by August the 15th, one way or the other, to put it on the ballot or make a decision. And so I'm opening the floor up for the magistrates for discussion to see what y'all do want to do.
And Judge, I do have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
resolution prepared that would place the question on the ballot. If that's what y'all would want to do, I've got that prepared to read.
Okay, thank you, Tammy.
And I think if we wanted to vote for it, we'd still need to vote for it. Even though we've opted in, you still have to, the way I understand it, you
No.
still have to vote for it, and then you still have to all your ordinance, regulations, and your days and times.
I think Mr. Mooney and myself, we have and Tammy, and if I can ask Kevin to address that a little bit, because I don't want to be the only voice about this.
I'm not the expert, okay? But it's and the judge and I did some talking about this, trying to figure out which way was Bullitt County gonna go. If you all say yes to putting the question on the ballot, this will be our 4th question on our ballots for November.
Oh, on the ballot, I meant as a
Because we're
court.
currently at 3.
Okay, I meant as a court.
Okay,
If the county doesn't do anything, as I understand it, and Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, it's my understanding that if you all take no action, that becomes a yes automatically.
That's right. But we still have to come up with the ordinance, the days
If
and
you
the
do
times.
nothing,
If you
you
wanted to
said
restrict
yes.
it in some way, like if you wanted to have some kind of regulation over it, yes, otherwise you're just under the KRS and you all don't have any say so. If you do nothing.
It's just like the alcohol laws, Karen.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's the way I see it too. We have our own alcohol law here in the county, or do we just abide by the state?
Well,
Abide by the state.
we abide by the state except for hours of operation.
Right,
And
and
that's
that's
the only
what the
thing.
hours of operation that I was talking about, like this
Sure.
is Lexington, Fayette County, and their ordinance and set forth the hours and can'ts and do's and don'ts.
Right, and we can do that at a later date,
Yeah.
the way I understand
Yeah,
it.
but we can vote on to go ahead today,
Yep.
Well, you don't
or,
have to vote.
If we don't vote, it means it's a yes. Exactly.
But why would
Yeah.
we
And then
vote?
later you could put restrictions in place if you wanted to shorten the hours of operation.
yeah,
especially
everybody's
since
already
it's
opted
but-
in at this point, and we can opt out if we want to.
Or you can put it on
Or
the
you
ballot.
put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
If you put it on the ballot, citizens vote on it, and then you get a yes or a no.
Who else is on the ballot? Mount Washington is.
Mount Washington has said yes, they're going to put it to the ballot, and I've already submitted their paperwork to the state.
And this is actually suggesting that, if I'm not mistaken, that only one, is that correct?
Yes.
Could operate in the county.
All right,
No, not 100%.
Okay.
There's minus, in the area that we're in, I think it's our KIPTA district is the territory. Not counting Jefferson, there are only 4 dispensary licenses to be issued. We have 6 counties, not counting Jefferson. So you got 4 licenses going to 6 locations. Somebody's gonna do without.
yeah.
2 somebodies are gonna do without. And I don't know that we have a dog in that fight as far as how that decision's gonna be made.
But I guess Kevin answered Sean's question, we wouldn't get but one, more than likely.
You would only get one
Yeah.
in the county
Yeah,
that gets.
if we
it.
were to get it, yeah. There's not gonna be 10, this passing it isn't gonna have them all over the place. Only-
If-
It's not gonna be a smoke shop on
Right,
every corner. It's not
right,
gonna
and
be
this
that.
is obviously medical,
Yeah.
yeah.
No
If-
county can have more than one.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to clarify. I wanted to
Except
clarify.
Jefferson.
Except for
And
That's the
Well,
way
Jefferson and
that's the way I
Fayette can both
understood it,
have
I just
two.
wanted to make
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, they,
And then at a later time, not only ordinances could be put in place, but also, is that right, tax
Yes.
rates? We
Yep.
can determine the taxes.
And just because Mount Washington has put theirs on the ballot, as I understand it, that doesn't mean that they're automatically the recipient.
Right.
Oh, it just means it can be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if somebody wants to open one up, then it's a possibility.
Then it's up to them to hopefully luck
Go
of the
through
draw
the
to get
hoops.
the,
Yeah.
to get the license.
But you can, like Judge said, you can either do nothing today, which means it would be allowable. You can pass a resolution that would place the question on the ballot, or you could just vote outright, no, we don't.
That's your all's call, not mine.
That's okay. So, and to help you all a little bit, I guess where I'm at, I'm ambivalent with it. But this reminds me of the old alcohol days, and I personally believe that we should do nothing and be covered underneath the KRS laws.
Probably make it more simple.
Yeah, it would make it more than simple for us, because then you have to come back, if you ever want one, you gotta pass ordinances, resolutions, like those liquor laws. And I mean, this is something that's being driven by the governor and the state legislators. You know, this is just not a one-off. So that's where I'm at with it, and it's up to you all to,
I'd like to make a motion that we put it on the ballot and let the voters decide.
The only thing I would say, Ms. Johnson, is if we're going to do that, I would need to read the resolution. You would want to then make a motion to adopt the resolution. We would have to do that by resolution.
I'll go on record and say that I don't have a problem personally with medical cannabis. I think there's more lives lost with bourbon warehouses than there are with the medical type cannabis. I know it helps a lot of people, and I personally don't have a problem with it. I do like the idea of the ballot, allowing the people to make that decision. You know, we ultimately represent the people and not what Sean's thoughts are, but I do want to personally go on the record and say that, you know, I don't see obviously a problem with that. Obviously, you said the governor's state legislation has made it clear, and I think the last statistics that I've seen, it's 70+% of people are in favor of medical cannabis. I do know it's going to be highly regulated. To Robin's point earlier, there's a lot of products out there that aren't regulated, so I know this is going to be very, very all eyes on, and it is an opportunity for additional tax revenue. If it's something that we don't acknowledge, they're just going to drive one county over and buy it, and potential tax revenue going to another county or location. And I don't perceive it being personally an issue, medical cannabis under a controlled, I don't know what the right word would be. There's a lot of people getting it out on the streets with fentanyl and everything else, and this is one way where those people that truly, really need it for medical reasons can know that it's a clean product. I think Walt even mentioned one day the marijuana of today isn't the marijuana of the 60s. You know, it's totally different. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what's in it. And a lot of people are going that route in order to help them medically. And I think medically speaking, this would be a good thing. But it is not a guarantee to get a facility or a location here, as you alluded to. But I think it's in our best interest to be considered. But I do agree with you. That's just my opinion, and I'm voted to represent my district. And I don't see a problem with it being put on the ballot and allowing the people to decide that. But I'm okay either way. Or if we want to vote for it or take no action, I'd put it on the ballot. But I'm not opposed to it.
On the medical, it's not, you can't smoke it. It's either a tincture, edibles, or you can buy a small amount of raw product, but it has to be regulated. It's not smoked. I mean, a lot of people think it's going to be legalizing pot, but it's for people. What I have seen is people have seizures, maybe epilepsy and stuff. They take this tincture, a couple of little drops, and I saw a video. This child had, like a middle schooler. He was having 40 seizures a day, and then on this, he went to 0 seizures. I think it's a good product. Any drug or alcohol, anything can be abused, but this is going to be heavily regulated. I think it would be a good thing. Well, it's going to be legal for the state regardless of what we do.
Right.
Well, and it's very different than what Ms. Galehouse had spoken about earlier, but she made a good point. That Delta 9 in the gas stations, it's dangerous, and it's a scary loophole in the system, and I personally don't even really understand it, but this is very different than that.
Yeah, the Delta 9 that they sell in the gas stations is very similar to what you saw maybe, 10 years ago when they had bath salts and
Yeah, which is terrible, which is awful.
Yeah, it really is, and there's no regulation over that. And even with the CBD oil, I sell CBD oil, and I see the benefits that just the 0.03% of THC that's allowed in the CBD oil. If I just put one drop on something that hurts you, the pain is gone within a matter of a minute or two. I have free samples if anybody ever wanted to try it, but it's miraculous what I see every single day just with the CBD oil. So I can only imagine what the medical cannabis can do to help the seizures and the patients that are more,
If I could just.
Sure, go ahead, Kurt.
As a person that deals with people who are in addiction, almost every person that I talk to and that we serve and we work with started with marijuana. I don't know if you guys remember Eastern Kentucky and the opioid epidemic. They had what they called whales. And they're finding that in all the states that have already legalized medical marijuana. And funny, my father-in-law in Maryland, he wanted to just see what it was all about. He went into the dispensary, medical marijuana, and he was like, so how do I get medical marijuana? And they're like, does anything hurt? He's like, oh yeah, my back hurts. And they wrote him a prescription. So I just say, please consider to, and I understand the state's going this way. The whole nation's going this way. As the nation continues to make sin legal, that we be cautious. We already have a huge drug epidemic in our county, and this could just fan the flames for our youth and for those who aren't exposed to it right now. It makes it very easy to get those cartridges. It's very easy. Illinois, I've got friends that work in addiction and homelessness in Illinois, and you would not believe the numbers that they have seen spike since the legalization. And those are the numbers that no one wants to talk about because it's great tax revenue. So I just wanted to say, please, just proceed with caution because this can be a very dangerous thing, especially for our children.
And this is the medical, not recreational.
I understand.
I mean, is that what, is it Illinois,
Yeah, I understand.
medical?
But like I said, my father-in-law went to a medical one in Maryland and said, hey, my back hurts. They didn't do a physical on him. They didn't know him from Adam. It's just like the medical places that were in Eastern Kentucky that were dispensing Oxycontin by the handfuls. That's the same way this medical marijuana is going. And yeah, you can go to Jefferson County and get it, but if we make obstacles for people, and I understand there are people that legitimately, trust me, I'm a veteran with PTSD, the VA is, they won't look at a lot of great medicines, and I do believe in it. The plant is great. I am not against medical THC, trust me. But what I'm saying is how they operate and how it gets into the hands of folks that it wasn't intended for. We need to make sure that we are very, very, very vigilant on these places because the same thing happened in Eastern Kentucky in the late 80s, early 90s. They're like, this wonder drug Oxycontin is great. So we're going to open up these pain management clinics. And there's still pain management clinics in Louisville. And trust me, we deal with the folks that's how they got hooked too. There's a lot of folks that start on opioids from a car accident. And they got prescribed opioids in the hospital, Tylenol 3 with codeine. And the next thing you know, they lose their job, they're hooked, and they're out on the street getting meth because of the psychological effects of drugs. So again, I just want to give my 2 cents as someone who is in the trenches every day with folks that are impacted by those kind of decisions.
Okay, thank you, Perry. Kevin?
I think that's one thing too, though, as far as the state's probably steps towards this, or only having the eligibility to have one of these locations in your county, it should make it a lot easier to enforce, regulate, and overlook the actions that facility's doing. When you have a lot of multiple places, I think it becomes overwhelming for code enforcement or regulation. But I think by having just one, I think that there could be a lot of eyes on whether things are done the right way. And that's just my personal thought. But Kevin had a question.
I didn't think I'd ever stand up and be saying this, y'all. But I lost my mother to cancer, my dad to cancer, and my mother-in-law to cancer. And my wife has lost every one of her aunts and uncles on her mother's side of the family to cancer. And then my mother
Thank you, Kevin. Sarah?
Just a short introduction. My name's Sarah Smith. I work for Bullitt County Public Schools. I'm also the chairperson for the Bullitt County Partners in Prevention. And I just wanted to share some facts with you, not share my opinion. We, about 10 years ago, had a town hall meeting talking about medical marijuana because we knew that this was coming. We had someone come from Colorado who was able to give some experience from years ago whenever they went through the pathway that we are at right now. And one of the things that they shared that was very interesting to me is when they went through the medical marijuana route before it became recreational in that state, he said that the highest prescription rate or the highest prescription that was written whenever it was medical marijuana was stress. And the other thing that was interesting to me was that ages 18 through 24, that was really the highest age group that received those prescriptions was because of stress. So one of the things that I would like to ask for you all is to do a little bit of homework in regards to not only that one facility that is going to provide that medical marijuana, the dispensary, but our doctors. And I know that there's legislation on there's got to be specific doctors that can prescribe that. So we need to be careful about how many doctors we're allowing also in our county, because that could very well be an issue. There are some resources that I can share with you because in our prevention world, we met with, let's say, Florida, for example. There was a woman from Florida that spoke with our coalition and gave us some just information that's coming down the pipe, giving us some warnings, some things to look for, because we knew we were going to be in the world of medical marijuana here in our state. If you would like that information, I feel like that the more informed you are, obviously, the better you can make those decisions for our community. So if you'd like that information, I would be glad to share that with you all.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah.
Kevin, if we decide to put this on the ballot or we vote, I don't know which way we're going. You said there's 3 questions already on there now. This will be number 4. I'm a magistrate resident of Mount Washington. They decide to put that on the ballot. Will it be a question of whether, when I go vote, will there be a question of the city and the county? So theirs is on the ballot. So when I vote, will I have a option of deciding whether I feel like that should be allowed in the city limits? And then if we decide to put it on the ballot, is there another question going to be on my ballot that says I have the option or opinion of it being allowed in the county of Bullitt County?
As I understand it, the question is identical. Whether it's coming from a county or coming from a city, the question is identical. It's in KRS, how the question has to be worded. Okay? In Mount Washington, everybody who could vote for mayor or city council in Mount Washington, this will be on their ballot. Okay, it will, and that's the only place, those precincts that are inside, or those split precincts that are inside Mount Washington, they will get the question.
I guess my question is, since I'm a city resident,
You will get the question.
I'll get the question for the city of Mount Washington, not the question for Bullitt County. Only Bullitt County outside city limit residents will have the, does that make sense?
You should get the question.
I should get 2 questions, right?
One specific to the city of Mount
Okay.
Washington, one specific to the county.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify.
If you all put it on the ballot.
Okay, I just wanted to ensure that city residents would have the ability to vote on it if it was put on the ballot
And
for the county.
If the county votes yes, city votes no, well then within the city limits of Mount Washington, then you can't have it, but
Right,
outside of
right.
the city limits,
Yeah.
then yeah.
I just wanted to ensure that the ballot wasn't going to be different for somebody that's inside city versus outside city.
I have a question. I know there's a KRS for the Delta 9. What kind of regulations are you gonna do about that? I mean, are you gonna put any regulations, and then if you vote, and I'm for the medical dispensary, but I'm still not for it to be sold over the counter at a gas station. And are you gonna step up and put some regulations on these people?
I will say, I don't have the KRS in front of me right now, so I can't necessarily
I-
answer
I
that
was
question.
just under
We
the-
can't always, if it's at the state level, we can't always add additional restrictions. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't.
So that's not gonna change then, whenever you vote for it, you're gonna go with their standard and not put regulations on it.
But we're talking about 2 different things though, right? You're talking about the Delta 9 at the gas station, which this has nothing to do with that.
And you are No, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about the Delta 9 at the gas station versus the
But they're
medical
two different
marijuana.
KRS
Two different,
statutes.
two different statutory schemes.
The dispensary will not be allowed to sell any Delta 9
No,
product.
no.
Yeah, all they can do is the medical marijuana.
But there is a KRS about the Delta 9 being okay, and what are you gonna do about the regulations for that? And if you can't do anything, then who's to say you can do anything when this is passed?
Well, what they're suggesting is that we're following the state guidelines.
Right.
And that's what we would be suggesting here with this, medical will follow the state guidelines. Now, as far as I know, Delta 9 is, it's a legal product. I know the sheriff's office could tell you more about that, but, it's not.
I don't know anything about Delta 9.
I mean, it is in Evergaston. I assume it's legal.
No, these are very good questions. It's a huge loophole. You're 100% right, and I've got to be honest, I don't understand why it's allowed and other things aren't allowed. I don't have those statutes in front of me. I'd be happy to look at that and get back with you about what regulations they could put in place, but I'm going to say I bet it's none. And it's a different statutory scheme than what this medical is. That's why we would be allowed to do it here. But again, I don't have it in front of me to talk more intelligently than that about it on the Delta 9.
Okay. So, any more discussions? It's okay.
I know
Tammy?
Ms. Johnson had made a motion, but Judge, if we, I think we're going to put it on the ballot, I'll need to read the resolution, then you would vote on the resolution. If that's
Okay.
the way you guys are wanting to go.
You can read the resolution, then we'll see how the vote goes.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, Bullitt County, Resolution Number 24-07. A resolution authorizing a referendum to determine whether cannabis business operations may occur in the county of Bullitt. Whereas on April 15, 2024, the Kentucky General Assembly passed 2024 House Bill 829, signed into law by Governor Andy Beshear on April 17, 2024, that amends KRS Chapter 218B, which codifies the statutes governing the Kentucky Medical Cannabis Program. Whereas KRS 218B.130 authorizes local governments to pass resolutions directing the question of prohibiting cannabis businesses from operating within its territory be submitted to the voters of its territory at the next regular election. And whereas the County of Bullitt wishes to utilize the authority granted to it by KRS 218B.130 to direct that the question of prohibiting cannabis businesses from operating within the County of Bullitt be submitted to the voters of the County of Bullitt at the next regular election. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Section 1, Definitions. The definitions within KRS 218B.010 are hereby adopted as if set out herein and as relevant to this resolution. Section 2, Cannabis Business Referendum Authorized. Pursuant to KRS 218B.130 sub 2A2 and KRS 218B.130 sub 3B, the Fiscal Court hereby resolves that the question of prohibiting cannabis businesses from operating within the County of Bullitt be submitted to the voters of the County of Bullitt at the next regular election in accordance with the language in KRS 218B.130 sub 3B. The ballot for the 2024 election shall state as follows, quote, "Are you in favor of the sale of medicinal cannabis at a licensed dispensary and the operation of other cannabis businesses in Bullitt County, Kentucky? Yes or no?" End quote. Section 3, Effective Date. This resolution shall be effective upon its enactment and publication. And Judge, that quote is taken directly from the KRS. That's what it has to say.
Thank you, Tammy.
Well, I'll second that motion, because I've told my personal opinion, but I also feel like that, I think putting it on the ballot allows the people in the community to make that decision.
Okay, we have a motion by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logsdon, to put medical cannabis on the November ballot. Any other discussion? Sam, call the roll.
Logsdon?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Bleemel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay. Vera, you have anything else to add today?
The only thing is I'd like to thank everyone for coming to the meeting today. It's been a long one, but glad to see all of y'all.
Okay. Sean?
Yeah, I'll be real short, but I've got one thing that I do want to bring up to the court. I've talked to some of you, but there's a road in my district, Leanna Lane. It's currently a private road. This subdivision was developed 27 years ago, and it's under my understanding, after talking with probably more than half of the residents, that at that time it was developed by Brenda Matthews. She had thought she had done everything that she was supposed to do in order for that road to be accepted as a county road. If you drive or if you look at that road, at that point it met every standard of being a county road. However, it's 27 years old. The residents of that road, a lot of them thought that it was a county road up until, I don't know if it's 4 years ago, we went through the county and we removed any road signs that distinguished, that assumed that it was a county road. If it was a private road, we went in, put a new road sign up that indicated that it was a private road. A lot of people there's a lot of the residents that have still been there that was originally there. Some have came and went. So it is new news to some that it wasn't a county road when those new road signs were put up. I've talked to Robert and Glenda, and they've looked through minutes, and they can't find anything in fiscal court 27 years ago that indicated that everything went through the process. I think it's my responsibility in my district to try to clean up some of these where there might have been an oversight for whatever reason. On Fisher Lane, if you travel from Highway 44 to Greenbrier, this is the section where this road exists. There's a road Eric Christie and then Shelley Court. Both of those roads, one road is before it, one road is after it, and they're both very similar in nature, and both of those are currently county roads. This road sits in between those two roads on Fisher. The drainage is perfectly acceptable. The width of the road is perfectly acceptable. Talking to Robert, however, there are issues with potholes and different things like that. So the condition of the road currently doesn't merit or fall within our guidelines to accept that road as a county road currently. We did adopt an ordinance several years ago that allowed us as a county to come in, provide equipment and labor if the residents of that particular road were willing to pay for the materials. That was primarily focused on gravel roads, but not necessarily blacktop roads. I've got a lot of pictures I'd be more than happy to share with anybody in the court. But this road, when you drive on it, there's no question that it was built the right way, designed the right way, and anybody in their right mind would think that it was either a city road or a county road without a doubt. The residents initially contacted me several years ago when the road signs were changed. It has resurfaced to find out what could be done in order for the county to take over that road. I'd like to propose to the court today, based upon the oversight of it not becoming accepted at the time that it was built. I think the residents have bared a lot of responsibility over the years with snow removal, maintenance, and so forth. But it is a position now, in order for us to take it over under the standards, it would have to be resurfaced and repaved. I'd like to propose, in addition to the ordinance, that's a little different than our previous ordinance, because like I said, it is blacktop. There's 13 lots on this road, 12 houses on this road, and I think the intent is very important here because it was assumed that everything was done right. However, it was not done right 27 years ago. I'd like to accept this private subdivision road, Leanna Lane, into the Bullitt County Road Maintenance System once it has been resurfaced and brought up to the new county standards in order to become a county maintained road. In addition, I'd like to propose that the county, under that previous ordinance, provide labor and equipment to complete such with the residents of Leanna Lane, bearing the responsibility for the cost of all materials. I had Robert take a look at the road and the width and the drainage. And as I said earlier, the width, the drainage, even initially when it was paved, would have met the standards currently today to be accepted as county road. But the residents would be required to pay for all the materials in this road. And as I said, we would provide the labor and equipment. It's estimated that the material cost would be between $10,000 and $11,000. Now, how this would actually take place is we currently work with Mago, and then there's a tack oil company that we use, I think maybe Asphalt Solutions or something. but the residents would be required to set up an account at each one of those locations and pay for that amount up front before any work's done. Once they have secured payment for all the materials and it's been deposited in each one of those accounts, then we could start the work. Once the work's completed, then at that point it'd be up to the standards and be accepted as a county road. It's kind of a no-brainer when you drive by the road to think that how in the world is this not a county road or a city road? But I would like to make that motion that we accept this private subdivision road, Leanna Lane, into the Bullitt County Road Maintenance System once it has been resurfaced and brought to new county standards in order to become a county-maintained road. In addition, I'd like to propose that the county provide the labor and equipment to complete such, with the residents of Leanna Lane being responsible for the cost of all materials.
You putting it?
That's a motion. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I understand everybody's position. I think this is not really a black and white issue. I know some might be concerned about opening a box for other roads, but I truly feel, and we've had this discussion in previous court, and there's been several roads that we've adopted as county roads in our area, that the ball was dropped, whoever's reason it may have been in years past, but these residents have lived there for 27 plus years, and it quite frankly should have been a county road. I do think that there are people that may try to take advantage of this, but I think we have to look at it a case-by-case situation. There's 13 lots, 12 residents on this property. It's not a 1 mile road to one person's house here in this situation.
Okay.
Is this road only a one-way in and one way out?
It's a one-way in, one-way out, typical subdivision type road, very large cul-de-sac at the end of the road. The width meets all the standards, the drainage issues meets all the standards, but it's one way in, one way out.
I know we've had this in the past. May I ask our county attorney her thoughts of this?
Yes, Ms. Sanders, so the ordinance we're talking about is the one about the grading, or is it a different ordinance?
It's one that we passed a few years ago. It's grading gravel roads and providing additional maintenance if they purchase the gravel and so forth. It didn't stipulate blacktop at that time, but that's why I'd like to take
I just
this.
want to make sure that was the ordinance that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to take this one, like I said, a step further. There's not a current ordinance in place that outlines blacktop or paving. However, I do feel like that a mistake being made 27 years ago. I think they paid. I personally feel like they've been paying taxes for 27 years and they've paid their dues. It's not like somebody that just a couple years ago snuck in and bought a farm and tried to build a couple houses and get the county to take over the road. So that's my personal position. I had the opportunity to talk to most of the residents, and they would love to see this for emergency purposes, snow removal purposes, and a lot of different things. And it's right off of Fisher Lane in Mount Washington.
I have a question. So you said it's kind of between two other roads that are off of Fisher Lane, and we found where those two roads were taken into the system?
Absolutely.
In the minutes?
Yeah. Those roads were taken into the county system.
And they were all developed around the same time?
Developed around the same time. And these two other roads were taken in, it's my understanding, about 10 years ago. So they watched snowplow trucks, go down the road next to theirs. It looks identical to theirs. So.
And we've never done any snow removal or as far as we know?
I can't speak to that. I'm sure there might have been a time maybe out of Carol's here. There might have been a time somebody graciously went down there, but to my knowledge, nobody's we've never set foot on it to my knowledge because it's been a private road, unless there was a mistake and we accidentally cleaned it.
We still got the assistant road director here too, Carol.
Yeah, Carol's still in the back.
He can come up and speak.
I didn't know if maybe everybody thought it was a county road, and then
Well, it just finally got to the point, the road's finally got to the point where it's kind of, it's not lost by any means. It needs one coat of paving, put over top of it. The foundation, the stability of the road, it's all there. It's not like they're going to have to reconstruct a road. I think their estimates were somewhere around $25,000 or $26,000 to do the total project. The material costs are somewhere around $10,000 to $11,000.
Mm-hmm.
We did personally and privately go ahead and have a company come in last week and fix the bottom.
Okay.
Some of them were getting pretty bad, so we went ahead and had the potholes in the middle of the section of the street fixed last week.
But even with
so another question. So with the potholes being fixed, we still believe though, if the road department went out there, it would not meet standards today?
It would not meet standards
Because
as it
these
is
are the top
currently,
coat.
according to Robert, but if we put one coat or whatever, I don't know how, is it called one layer? Or if it was paved, you know, it would meet the standards according to him.
I guess my question would be, has the director from the road department been out since they had filled the potholes?
I've been,
Because it's a possibility, if they've done that it might.
That was my question. If it
Meet
would
the code.
be, if it would be standards right now, then it's easy.
no, it wouldn't. I mean, the standard is like, you know, like new paved. I mean, unfortunately, you know, if he went out there and seen where the potholes were patched, I mean, that wouldn't meet the standard. It's gonna require to be repaved.
A top coat.
It's gonna need a top coat on it.
Yep.
Well, the problem you have is it's a private road. That ordinance, again, I don't have it in front of me, but I've looked at that before, and it's about grading on the gravel roads. That ordinance isn't gonna allow us to go into a private road and do the paving, as much as we all hate that.
Right. But we were also the ones as a fiscal court that developed that ordinance and passed it. So I'm not suggesting that we do anything under that ordinance. I just referenced that ordinance. This would be an entirely isolated situation where somebody developed a subdivision 27 years ago and did everything they thought they were doing right, and for some reason it didn't get put through the system properly. I've even in my last term, talking with, you know, Mr. Mooney even indicated when we accepted a couple roads where sometimes there was miscommunication. And we couldn't find this one in the minutes, but there is a lot of roads out there exist in Bullitt County where things were done here and then it stopped and they weren't taken over to the clerk's office and recorded properly or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a long time period there where miscommunication from what actually happened here to what happened as far as that road getting recorded or changed.
Or I guess like in Hillview,
That if the information came to us, that it got indexed, and that it's in the fiscal court minutes. Is it possible that we might have missed one somewhere over time? Yes, but systemically to miss bunches? No.
And I'm not assuming that this was missed because we couldn't find any information that this made it to fiscal court.
did you find the other two streets that are next to it?
Yeah, they're county roads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you found the minutes? You could.
No, there's no reason for me to hunt for the minute because I mean,
Well, you might find that with that.
yeah.
like-
Well,
like
this one's not with that one, no.
But are those other two streets considered a subdivision?
I don't know what you technically consider a subdivision. I mean, there's not a name for this. I mean, this road here is Leanna Lane. It's not Leanna Estates or Leanna Subdivision. It was developed as a subdivision, but as far as, he could speak to it more than me, but as far as my knowledge, there's no homeowners association, there's no rules, there's no restrictions, but it's definitely, there's realtors in here today, if you put a for sale sign up here and you sold the property without us changing that sign, telling somebody, it is a very well-built road and the width and everything. It's mind-boggling that it's not a county road to me. But it falls back on the responsibility, I know, of the developer doing the right things and going through the steps and ensuring that happens. But I'm just trying to speak out on behalf of the citizens in my district that are being penalized for the lack of maybe something somebody did 27 years ago when they built that subdivision.
So
And I think
was that a subdivision built or was that lots sold off? You know what I'm saying? Was it a developer that came in and built all these homes? Or?
They built a really nice road 27 years ago and then there's 12 houses on there now. Now, whether it was a subdivision or I don't know if it makes a difference.
But the three roads off of Fisher that we're talking about, they're all kind of like standalone roads. Is that your question? Like, they're not
Yes.
a subdivision together. They're just three
Right.
kind of
Dead
standalone
end.
roads.
They're all dead end roads.
off
Yeah,
of Fisher.
yeah.
They might be recorded on a plat together, but it's not like.
Right,
a
no,
full
they're all independent from each other. Basically, you drive down the road, you see a road, and it's got 12 or 13 houses. You go to the next road, and they all look identical. Because I just think I'm just trying to clean house a little bit more than anything else. But I understand your all's position. That's why I brought it in front of the court to vote on.
those
really
people.
hard. You know, to be honest with you, I would like to go look at it just to see.
But Sean, you've looked at it and you feel confident.
I
that
drive
the
by, I
way
mean,
you
I
like
drive by it
you've
every
seen
day.
You've driven the
I drive by it
road.
every day. I've got pictures here I'll be glad to share with you. I mean, but it's, but I understand your position. Do understand the position about possibly opening up a can of worms, but I also feel like it's gonna have, I think it's our responsibility to clean, I think it's our responsibility to look at some of these oversights in years past, as if it adds another 0.8 miles to our 315 miles we're maintaining right now. I do feel like, you know, these citizens are you know, they're all nice homes on that, you know, they're all paying property taxes, just like everybody else on Shelley Court and Eric Christie.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're part of our community, and I don't feel like it was an intent for somebody. Now I think there's a lot of roads, as I mentioned earlier, maybe it's a 1 mile road, half a mile road, and there's 2 houses on it, 1 house on it. Somebody sold a farm and they just built a couple houses here with no structure. But this was definitely an oversight 27 years ago, and I'm just trying to clean it up.
And I do understand what you're saying, because just in my district, there are actually roads that the county take care of because they're county roads, and you think, how did this ever become a county road? You know, I totally agree with what you're saying. However, I do have a subdivision that is going in my community, and they're trying to reach out to me to blacktop all their roads.
If it's going in, I think that's a totally different situation than one that's been there 27 years that should have been a county road 27 years ago.
And actually, this road sounds like it's probably better than some of the ones that's in my district that are county roads. But
This road is better than a lot of roads, but it's just not at that standard. And Carol could correct me, you know, he's been on that, I mean, I don't know if he's been down that road necessarily because it's a private road, but I'm sure he's very familiar with it. But the width, drainage, everything else. But
Okay.
you want to add anything else? Is there any? I'm sure it did, but I know Robert told me that if it was repaved, it would meet the specs of what would be required today.
yes, I do not have it. I do not have that with me today. I was looking for it. That's, you know, I'd like to maybe look at that and kind of go from there.
There were some roads that the county hadn't accepted, they were on that ordinance that they could be.
Uh-huh.
And they, you know, that it went on.
I wish I had, I was looking. I looked and I was looking for it a while ago, and I meant to get it out.
But this isn't a gesture by me to I guess this ain't a gesture by me to win a vote or to do somebody a favor or a backyard handshake. I mean, this is a road you drive by and you feel sorry for somebody that has to get out there and find somebody with a tractor to shovel their own road when everybody around there is getting roads maintained. And I just think it's the right thing to do. I really do in this case because it was definitely, in my opinion, an oversight.
Yeah, and to help you a little bit, Sean, this is no different than what we've done with water and sewers in the county too. Places that were, what I'm gonna say, overlooked before, and we're backfilling them now as well. And we do have other roads like this that does need our support that have been county, their assumption was they were county roads years ago.
And if you have a road in your district and it was built to the standards, I would support it 100% that we correct that on the books and get it right moving forward. There might be some people that come forward with their road, but this isn't turning somebody's gravel road into a county road. This isn't blacktopping somebody because we know who they are or something like this. This is just, if anybody drives down this road, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It was an oversight 27 years ago. It needs to be fixed.
So I got a comment. I have people that have reached out to me, some with gravel roads, some roads that have been in the county, they're not in the county maintenance system, but maybe they were blacktopped and they were never brought up to standards. I don't know what the deal is, but I have 6 that I know of: Bellevue, Clearview, Pine Creek Court, Myers Drive, Moore Lane, one more, and they all want me to blacktop the road.
we do it for one, we're gonna have to do it for all. That's what I'm saying. If it's brought up to county standards and we do it, that's the ordinance that it is, you know. But if we start blacktopping there's gonna be a lot of people that come up and want this one I was told was a county road back in the 80s. I couldn't find any paperwork.
I think that needs to be fixed. I agree. If it was the county road in the 80s, I'll support you 100%. You know, if it's, I think that's our responsibility is to clean those mistakes
So I would
up.
think we need to do some research and get it all lined out before we just do the one. If we're gonna do that, we need to look at a whole bunch of roads.
And I'm welcome to look at them.
No, and I am too, because we proposed this with the last court as well, because to me, roads are no different than water, sewers, whatever infrastructure you want to put on it. Because there is roads in this county that's got a foot of blacktop on them, and hell, we can't get one of our big ambulances down them without tearing off mirrors because of trees and stuff.
Yeah, and once again, I don't think this is necessarily a black and white issue. I mean, if somebody came forward to me and I looked at their road and it wasn't the proper width, it didn't have the cul-de-sac, didn't have the right curbing or whatever is required of a road currently, then I think it'd be a no-brainer that it's just going to require too much work or it's going to fall all 100% back on the residents to make those changes. But in this case here, I think meeting them halfway after 20, I don't know. It's just my thought process, and talking with everybody there, I know they're extremely frustrated that this was supposed to have been a county road, and like I said, the big thing was, I mean, some of the residents are new residents, and this didn't become a real hot issue, and it may have been a hot issue before, but I mean, I'm into my second term, and I was aware of this situation when the road signs were changed initially.
Yeah, Sean, I don't know if it matters, but like you said, most of the people on the street for years, and especially some of the newer people, just assumed it was a county road. County school buses have been driving up and down that road for the 25 years that I've lived there. The only thing that doesn't go up and down that road is the salt truck and the snow. I plow the street, we take care of it ourselves, but the school buses run up and down the street for the last 25 years, and neighbors just assumed it was a county road. The road's been in fantastic shape until the last few years, and it never was an issue. Nobody cared. When it started getting potholes, people started asking questions, and then you guys came and changed the street signs, and that's when everybody was like, wait, what do you mean we're private street? That's where we're at.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's just table this and look at it and see where we can go with this, because we've had list upon list about what roads were excluded back when they made the county roads.
I'd like to go ahead and vote on it.
Okay.
Well, there's a motion on the.
There's a motion on the floor.
There's not a second, but there's a motion.
I'd like for everybody to vote on it because this has been tabled for 3 or 4 years, or since I've been aware of it. So I want to do what I can do for the residents of my district.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of kind of similar, not necessarily roads, but things like that with the city of Hillview and all those reannexations we had to do because it never made it to the state or things happen. I'd like to go ahead and second his motion. I just feel like that it was some type of a mistake from 25 years ago, 27 years ago, that these people are a part of the county.
Okay.
And they're paying county taxes back there too. And it was just I have roads myself that need to be brought into the county that still I don't have the paperwork for, but we're gonna get to, right? All those roads off of Chrisman that we need to bring in.
Yeah, well, and generally the way it works is when you've got new roads, the developer, once it's built to standard, will submit a letter of request saying, hey, these are the roads, they're built to standard, come check it out. Then the road department goes out and does their core test or whatever, however they do it with their machines, and they can say, yes, it's built to standard. That way you're taking in a road that you're not dumping a lot of money into to bring up to standard. That's the thing. So I think what you all are saying here is you're basing this motion off of your belief that this was a mistake and it should have been brought into the system 27 years ago, and it most likely was built to standard 27 years
Oh, I
ago.
understand.
But for whatever reason, you can't find the proof of
Right.
it. Like Mr. Blingell said, I'd be prepared for other people to come in and make the same request. But
And I understand,
So-
once again, before anybody votes, I mean, it is not a black and white situation with this, and I understand that, because I do think if somebody does come to me tomorrow with another road, you've got to look at that road and look at the history of that road and what's been going on with that situation. Look at the width of that road, the drainage situation. There's so many variables, but according to Robert, everything checks off those boxes if that gets a new coat of pavement over the top of it.
And so,
Okay.
just so that I'm clear, Mr. Lawson, your motion was that the county would do the work and use the county equipment, and the folks who live on the road are buying the materials.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
And then it'll be brought into the county.
Right, well, there would have to be a
Well, it's
test
gonna
and to
have
make
to
sure that it meets standards.
Okay, so,
You saying then it should be turned over to the county?
No. The road department will have to go out and do their testing on it to make sure that it meets the standard. They do
All
like
right.
that core testing and all that.
Yeah.
With their equipment and however they do that.
okay. So I have a motion by Second District Magistrate Logsdon to work with the residents of
Leanna Lane,
Leanna Lane,
Leighanna Lane.
to work with the residents. They'll furnish the material and we'll furnish the equipment to be able to repair their road, so we can look at it to see if it's going to meet county standards to be a county road. I have a second by Magistrate Johnson, 3rd District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call a roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Blingell,
No.
Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
No.
Logston.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Anything else, Sean?
No, thanks to everybody for coming, and I know a lot of information was passed on today, so thank you all.
Karen?
Well, other than happy back-to-school days, I have a similar, not really a similar situation, but when we passed our interlocal agreement with the cities in the road department a couple of meetings ago, we realized then that Hunter's Hollow wasn't on the list of cities, and I don't think we ever figured out why, but now they have contacted me, asking me to get an interlocal agreement.
Okay.
And I think we have the paperwork for that.
Yes, and Judge, I did draft that. It's
All right.
identical to the ones that we did with the other
That's
cities.
fine.
Put in Hunter's Hollow in the place of the city name. And I think if I remember right, Ms. Renfro said that they just hadn't made that request at the time when all the others did.
Right.
That's why we
And-
didn't just do it because they didn't make that request. But
Yeah,
it sounds like
and-
they have now.
Yeah, and Robert too, as well. Robert
Yeah.
jumped in on that as
Yeah.
well. They never
So
did
it's, I
anything
have it
with it.
prepared. It's the
That's
exact
good.
same as the one with the other cities.
We'll take care of that.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
But it would need to be a motion to
Okay,
approve the
all right,
interlocal
approve,
agreement,
all
if
right.
that's what you're wanting to do.
Okay. We make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with the road department and the city of Hunter's Hollow.
Yeah. And I'll second it. We have a motion by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the interlocal agreement with the city of Hunters Hollow. And I'm going to second that motion. And Sam, call the roll.
Blingell,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Brian?
So I have a couple of roads that I've talked about before, Bogart and Wava, right behind Pleasant
right.
Grove Elementary.
Yep.
And with school starting back, the buses use that to drop the kids off. And the entrance needs to be widened.
Okay.
And so I brought it up to Carol and Robert.
Mhm.
I think y'all have looked at it, haven't you? Have y'all looked at widening that? Or
Wait.
just went out and put
Bogart.
Bogart and Wava,
Waiver.
right behind Pleasant Grove Elementary?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you
so,
brought it up in here too, so we
Right.
moved on it.
so I guess I'll put that in the form of a motion that we widen the entrance of Bogart and Wava for the school traffic. They're both county roads.
Okay.
I'll second that motion because my kids went to Pleasant Grove Elementary, and I used to live off, I'm very familiar with the issues that go along there with the school And I know a lot of those residents have complained for a long time about, you know, they try to direct all that school traffic back there on there, and it bogs down entrances. So, I mean, I think it'd be a great thing to help with congestion and traffic. So I'll second that motion.
Okay. Got a motion by Fourth District Magistrate Blamel to widen the entrance to Wava, and a second by Second District Magistrate Logston. Sam, call the roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Flemel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Anything else, Brian?
That's all I really got now on that.
Got it, okay. I want to thank all of y'all for coming today, and our next meeting is August the 20th, 9:30 a.m. here. And I do want to thank Mayor Dangerfield, Mayor Taylor, Councilwoman Portman, our County Clerk, Kevin, for attending today, and y'all have a great week. Thank you. We're getting bids. Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Got a motion by First District Magistrate Sanders.